Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. Thank you for joining us today as we are midweek of a short week here in the States. Also to point out that yesterday was our 350th episode overall since we began this mode of learning. So I thank all of you who have joined us along for this journey. But we continue to daven v'chayli tzvagana Yisrael, P'tuei Yisrael, Refuah Shalema, safe return of our hostages, and we dedicate our learning to Nishmat, Seren Daniel Shema Ben Harav Doron V'Sheli Hashem Yikom Damo. We are still with the Zecher LeMikdash topic, and the next is Shir v'Klei Zemer. B'kvos Churban HaMikdash, Gazru Chachamim Shelo L'Nagen B'Klei Zemer V'Shelo L'Shir. So the Gemara in a couple of places in Sotah and Gittin says that since the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, that the enactment of Chazal was that we shall never play instruments and never to sing. So naturally, you're scratching your head saying, wait, but we do that all the time, so what does this mean? So Nechlaku HaPoskim B'Halacha. So now we have a tremendous machlokas on what this means. Ladas Rambam, the Rambam writes in Hilchos Tanios, and according to the Shulchan Aruch as well, in Orach Chaim Tav Kuf Samech, Asur L'Nagen L'Shmuel Klei Zemer L'Shem Tanug V'Hanoah. It is forbidden to play instruments or to listen to instruments for pleasure. V'rak l'tzorach mitzvah, only for a mitzvah purpose. Kimo b'chasna mutter, like at a wedding, that's the only time it's permissible. Uve'es mishteh hayayin, kam shir b'peh asur, and if there's wine being drunk at any time, then you can't even sing a cappella, let's say, without instruments, just singing. Aval ashir stam mutter, but to regularly sing without wine present is allowed. V'chein mutter l'shir b'suda sheshosam b'yayim ki rak ashir b'shosh b'skapsin l'shem shtiyas yayin l'mashkos charifim gozrum l'shtiyas u'mevil simply serve af laholus. So you could sing at a regular meal where there is wine being served, but if it's at a gathering where it's specifically to drink wine or to drink alcohol, the Chachamim decreed that we cannot have any singing because we worried that it might bring us to extra levels of simcha which we shouldn't have since the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, or perhaps even to frivolity. Well, that's Rashi Balei Tosas Rav Rishonim, and according to Rashi, Tosas, most of Rishonim, Ein Hevdel Ben Shir L'Nigam B'Kli Zemer. There's no difference between singing or playing instruments. V'chol Mikra Be'es Mishta Hayayin Aser, Gam L'Shir V'Gam L'Nagin L'Shmo Nagina. So any time that there is wine being drunk, then you cannot sing and you cannot have any instruments playing or to listen to music. But if you're not drinking wine, or if you're drinking wine as part of the meal, and again, you're allowed to sing and you're allowed to play instruments. And the Tosfos add one extra level to this. You shouldn't listen to instruments throughout the duration of the day. Just like the kings used to do. The Gemara tells us that they would play instruments in front of them when they were standing or when they were going to sleep. Because as long as the Beis HaMikdash remains destroyed, there's a tremendous amount of pain in the world. And therefore, by playing music, it will distract us and make us forget about our suffering. But let's talk about practically speaking. Practically speaking, we play instruments, we listen to music, we sing. So how does this coincide with this halacha? Lamaisa, so Rav Melamed says that practically speaking, Nogan hakel kedas rov harishonim lenagen l'shmoa muzika kedei lahanos. We are lenient, like most of the Rishonim, and we play instruments and we listen to music even for pleasure. V'yadua shahiyudim hitztainu ma'od matmid muzika v'negina. And we know that especially the Jewish people are experts in the field. We're great composers, singers, players, etc. V'af ha'gaon mivilna shibach ma'odes chachmas muzika. He says even the Vilna Gaon praised the beauty of the wisdom of music. V'amar shechachmas muzika v'mathematica hein hachachmas hachavivus olav bioser. And the Vilna Gaon said that the wisdom of music, the craft, the skill of music, and also of mathematics. The Vilna Gaon actually wrote certain books on mathematics. He said that he composed them when he was in the bathroom, when he couldn't learn Torah. But he says these are the most dear chachmas in the world. So we're talking about scholarly pursuits, which are not Torah. He loved music and he loved mathematics. And the note here, as I had suspected, the Peninei Halacha quotes a monumental tshuva from the Igros Moshe, from Moshe Feinstein. And he says that he quotes, if you want to look it up, it's in Orach Chaim Chelik Aleph Kuf Samech Vav. It says that Moshe Feinstein, Hichmir Karambam. And he takes a very stringent approach. So if you look through that tshuva, I remember looking at it years and years ago when I was in yeshiva, and this is one of, you could probably count on one hand maybe, the one time that Rov HaOlam, the majority of the world, just doesn't hold like Rav Moshe in this, which is very unusual, but it's almost like a takana she'ein rov hatzibur yachol lamod bo. It's almost like a decree or an enactment from Chazal that just most people can't stand by. They just can't do it. So therefore it doesn't necessarily take. So Rav Moshe took a very stringent approach against all music. So for instance, if anybody's ever been in Yerushalayim, there's a prohibition on having certain types of bands. You can't have more than, let's say, a one or two piece band. The only exception to that is Simchas Beis HaShoeva on Sukkos, on Chol Hamoed Sukkos. So when people make weddings, they don't necessarily make them in Yerushalayim. They make them outside Yerushalayim so they can have a full band. That's just one application of this. But he quotes here from Rav Moshe in the notes, and also those who are Mekel. He says, for instance, the Tzitz Eliezer, Rabbi Waldenberg, Hekel Lagamrim, She'ein lefak b'kameneg Yisrael. He says, no, we're completely lenient, and that's the custom of Israel that we've always played and listened to music. So everybody, don't worry, you're safe. Don't throw away your radios. Don't throw away those old iPods. Don't throw away your records. You may have nothing to play them on, but you can listen nonetheless. Of course, what kind of music listen to? Well, that's a conversation for a whole other time. But in any event, we thank you for listening today, these interesting halachos. Continue davening for Chali Tzvag Yisrael, for Shalom L'Petzui Yisrael. Safe return of our hostages. We dedicate our learning to Nishmat, Sarah and Daniel Shem and Rabbi Visheli, Hashem Yikom Damo. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next time. Have a wonderful day.